As night fell over Vietnam's central coast on Sunday, September 28th, the skies darkened with foreboding intensity. Typhoon Bualoi, the 10th tropical cyclone to strike the country this year, made landfall with winds reaching 130 kilometers per hour, unleashing a cascade of destruction across provinces from Ninh Binh to Quang Ngai. Meteorologists had warned of Bualoi's unusual velocity, nearly double the average speed of typhoons in the region. This is a fast-moving storm with very strong intensity and a wide area of impact, said Mai Van Khiem, director of Vietnam's National Center for Hydro-Meteorological Forecasting. It is capable of triggering multiple natural disasters simultaneously. Strong winds, heavy rain, floods, landslides, and coastal inundation. The typhoon's rapid approach left little time for preparation. By Sunday evening, over 28,500 residents had been evacuated from vulnerable coastal zones. In Ha Tinh province alone, a key steel production hub, more than 15,000 people were relocated to schools and medical centers converted into emergency shelters. Vietnam's government responded with sweeping emergency measures. For domestic airports, including Da Nang International, were shut down, and all fishing vessels were ordered to return to harbor. Nearly 117,000 military personnel were deployed to assist with evacuations and reinforce flood defenses. In Da Nang, the country's largest city, more than 210,000 residents were moved to safer ground. Hue, another coastal city, evacuated over 32,000 people. Local authorities mobilized hundreds of workers with trucks, sandbags, bamboo stakes, and stone to fortify the coastline. Despite these efforts, tragedy struck. One person was confirmed dead, and at least 4 others were reported missing. Among them were 3 fishermen from Ho Chi Minh City, whose vessel sank off the coast of Quang Tri province. 8 others were rescued from a second boat disabled by massive waves near the mouth of the Qua Viet Channel. I feel a bit anxious but still hopeful that everything will be fine in the aftermath, said Nguyen Quang, 29, a resident of Ha Tinh City. We were all safe after the recent Typhoon Kajiki. I hope this one will be the same or less severe. As Bualoi swept inland, it left a trail of destruction. Concrete pillars were toppled, rooftops torn off, and power lines severed. More than 347,000 families experienced power outages, plunging entire neighborhoods into darkness. Floodwaters surged through streets, submerging homes and vehicles, while landslides blocked key roads in mountainous areas. In Vinh, the capital of Nghe An province, residents scrambled to secure their homes. We already suffered losses from Typhoon Kajiki earlier this year and haven't recovered yet, said Bui Thi Tuyet, a longtime resident. Over the last 20 years living here, I have not felt this terrified because of storms. Vietnam's long coastline and low-lying terrain make it particularly susceptible to tropical cyclones. Scientists warn that climate change is intensifying the frequency and severity of such storms. Rising sea temperatures and shifting wind patterns are fueling stronger typhoons with unpredictable paths and devastating consequences. In the first 7 months of 2025 alone, more than 100 people were killed or went missing due to natural disasters in Vietnam. Last year, Typhoon Yagi caused $3.3 billion in economic losses and claimed hundreds of lives. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh called for maximum preparedness as Bualoi approached Vietnamese waters. Emergency broadcasts urged citizens to stay indoors, stock up on essentials, and follow evacuation orders. The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development coordinated with local governments to monitor river levels, which rose by up to 9 meters in some areas. In Ha Tinh, volunteers helped elderly residents reach shelters. In Da Nang, community kitchens sprang up to feed evacuees. We may be battered, But we are not broken, said Tran Thi Hoa, a teacher turned relief worker. We stand together in the storm. The economic toll of Typhoon Bualoi is still being assessed, but early estimates suggest significant damage to agriculture, infrastructure, and industry. Steel factories in Ha Tinh halted operations, while rice paddies in Quang Ngai were inundated. Transportation disruptions affected supply chains nationwide. Forecasters warned of more heavy rain through October 1st, raising risks of flooding and landslides in northern and central provinces. Bualoi was the second major storm to threaten Asia in a week. Typhoon Regasa, one of the strongest to hit in years, left at least 28 deaths in the northern Philippines and Taiwan before making landfall in China and dissipating Thursday over Vietnam. Global warming is making storms like the July storm Wifa stronger and wetter, according to experts, since warmer oceans provide tropical storms with more fuel, driving more intense winds, heavier rainfall, and shifting precipitation patterns across East Asia. The central province of Quang Tri found itself at the epicenter of a rapidly unfolding disaster. Torrential rains, surging tides, and violent winds transformed quiet fishing villages and bustling towns into submerged landscapes of fear and resilience. By midnight, Quang Tri's low-lying districts were inundated. Streets vanished beneath muddy torrents. Rivers breached their banks. Homes collapsed under the weight of water and wind. The provincial government declared a level 4 disaster alert, the highest possible warning of extreme flood risk, landslides, and coastal inundation. The storm's eye passed just 140 kilometers southeast of Quang Tri, but its wide circulation brought relentless rainfall and gusts exceeding 130 kilometers per hour. This is not just a flood, said Hong Phuc Lam, deputy head of Vietnam's National Center for Hydro-Meteorological Forecasting. It's a compound disaster: wind, rain, surge, and landslide all at once. In the waters off Quang Tri, 2 fishing vessels were caught in the storm's fury. One sank. The other was stranded near the mouth of the Qua Viet Channel. 8 crew members were rescued, but 3 remain missing. Rescue teams, battling waves up to 7 meters high, continue their search amid treacherous conditions. We saw the boat go under, said Nguyen Van Thin, a local fisherman. The sea was boiling. We couldn't do anything but pray. In Gio Linh and Tru Phong districts, floodwaters rose swiftly, forcing thousands to flee. More than 15,000 residents were evacuated to schools and government buildings converted into emergency shelters. In Dong Ha City, the provincial capital, power outages plunged entire neighborhoods into darkness. I carried my mother on my back through waist-deep water, said Tran Thi Lan, 34, from Tru Phong. We lost everything: our home, our livestock, our rice. But we are alive. Trucks loaded with sandbags, bamboo stakes, and emergency supplies rolled into flood zones. Helicopters hovered overhead, delivering food and medicine to isolated hamlets. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh ordered 21 provinces to activate full-scale disaster response protocols. Every life matters, he said in a televised address. We must act swiftly and decisively. Roads connecting Quang Tri to neighboring provinces were blocked by landslides and fallen trees. Dong Hoi Airport in nearby Quang Binh was shut down. Schools across Quang Tri suspended classes indefinitely. Telecommunications were disrupted, leaving many communities cut off from the outside world. In Cam Lo District, a bridge collapsed under the force of floodwaters, severing access to 3 villages. We are isolated, said District Chief Lu Van Hung. We need boats, food, and fuel. Meteorologists recorded over 490 millimeters of rainfall in parts of Quang Ngai within 24 hours. Forecasts warned of continued downpours through Tuesday, with totals possibly exceeding 600 millimeters. The Thach Han River surged to dangerous levels, threatening to overflow into Dong Ha and Hung Hoa. "This is the heaviest rain we've seen in a decade," said Nguyen Thi Hien, a weather analyst in Hue. "The soil is saturated. The risk of landslides is very high." Experts point to climate change as a key driver of Bualoi's intensity. Warmer seas fuel stronger storms. Shifting wind patterns make landfall harder to predict. Vietnam, with its long coastline and vulnerable terrain, faces increasing threats from compound disasters, where wind, rain, and surge collide. Typhoon Bualoi is a textbook example of climate volatility, said Dr. Liu Antoine, a climate scientist at Kenho University. "We must rethink our infrastructure, our planning, and our emergency systems." In the village of Hai Lang, 72-year-old Nguyen Thi Dao sat on a rooftop, clutching a photo of her late husband. "He built this house with his hands," she whispered. "Now the water has taken it." Nearby, children huddled in a shelter, drawing pictures of sunshine and dry land. Volunteers handed out rice, instant noodles, and bottled water. "We may be soaked," said relief worker Pham Quoc Hung, "but our spirit is dry and strong." Damage assessments are underway. Relief efforts continue, but the scars, emotional, economic, and environmental, will linger. "This storm has taught us hard lessons," said Provincial Chairman Vo Van Hung. "We must invest in resilience. We must protect our people. And we must never forget the power of nature."